Welcome to Snorlax. This is my open spoiler discussion for Marvel Studios' Moon Knight Episode 3. If you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button and click on that bell so you can notify for future videos. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And yes, after watching the third episode of Moon Knight over on Disney Plus, I gotta say, this thing is so damn awesome. Now, I'm not gonna say that this is my most favorite episode of the series so far, but I did like it a lot. Now, we are halfway through this series so far. That's right. 3 down and 3 left to go. But however, at least we had a runtime of 53 minutes this week, just like last week. But after you minus out the recap and the credits, we're left with 44 minutes worth of story time, which is the same thing as last week. A little bit less in the first episode, but so far the runtime for each of these episodes has been halfway decent. So I'm kind of happy with that. So with that being said, I mean, this thing is pretty damn awesome. Mohamed Diab directs his second out of 4 episodes for this series, and so far, every single episode he's done, I'm liking it. I mean, the pacing is good. The dialogue is pretty damn awesome. And it's just, he knows how to capture the action in this series. And so far, I'm liking all the episodes he's done so far. Bo DeMeo, Peter Cameron, and Sabir Perzeda were the writers for the episode this week. And I think they did a fabulous job writing for this episode. Now, we did learn a little bit about Layla's background story this week. Now, she seems to be taking the place of the character Marlene Elrond from the comics, whose father was Dr. Elrond, who was killed by the character Raoul Bushman, with Mark Spector being present, which kind of makes me wonder whether or not if we're actually going to see the character of the Bushman in this series. We only got 3 more episodes left to go, but he still could pop up at some point, right? Also, we find out that it almost seems like in this show, either Mark Spector is responsible for Layla's father's death, or he was there and knows who's responsible for her father's death. So I kind of wonder whether we're actually going to find that out too, because Harold makes it seem that Mark is the one who's responsible for this.
You don't tell her because you know that if you do, she'll see you exactly as you see yourself, as unworthy of love.
And he's not really saying exactly what happens. Now, in the comics, after the doctor is killed, Mark fights the Bushman, ends up getting beat to almost death and left for dead. And this is where he comes in contact with the god Khonshu, and he becomes Moon Knight after that, and the story takes off from there. So it kind of makes me wonder whether or not we're actually going to see that in some kind of a flashback or something, or they're just going to kind of reimagine it the MCU way, and we'll see it in this show. Also in that scene when she's talking to the forger, that she said it's been 10 years since she's been back to Egypt. And in the last episode, which I didn't catch until I saw a breakdown video, we did see a GRC banner on the side of a bus. Now that's the Global Reparation Council, the group that's responsible for the housing of refugees and distributing food that we saw in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series.
The only power I have is that I believe we can do better.
Now, I kind of whether or not, since it was been 10 years since she was been in Egypt, now was she subject to the blip or what? Because I don't know exactly where this falls in the timeline, but this is after the events of Endgame, after seeing that billboard on the side of the bus. Even though they didn't really say how far past that story we are, you know what I mean? After the opening scene with Layla getting her passport and heading to Egypt, we go into the MCU title sequence and come out to Harold and crew finding Emmett's tomb.
Found Ahmed. She's here.
Man, I gotta say, I am really feeling the Indiana Jones vibes in this show. I mean, there are so many similarities to the first Raiders of the Lost Ark movie in this show. I mean, the similarities are almost crazy. It's just crazy. And then we catch Mark doing parkour on the rooftops in Cairo, chasing down a lead to find the dig site where Harold and his crew are at. Now, when he finally catches up to the guy ends up getting killed by these other 3 dudes, and now we have a fight ensued. Now, I thought this scene was pretty damn cool, and I thought it was hilarious as all hell when the guy starts licking the knife and Mark just starts pounding him. It was almost kind of like straight out of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the guy's sitting there doing the sword tricks, and he just shoots him and calls it a day. Now, Mark actually loses consciousness, and somehow or another, then Steven takes over. He finds himself in a cab, and then he takes it back over. He starts to try to question the same dudes again, and the next thing you know, he blacks out again, and everybody's dead except for the kid, right? And he's like, "What, Steven, what'd you do?" And Steven goes, "That wasn't me." And he goes, "Then who was it?" So this is alluding to another personality that we don't know yet. Now, some people are speculating that it could have been Khonshu that actually did the killing, but I don't know. Could we possibly see Jake Lockley pop up in this series? I don't know. Let me just think about that in the comments down below. I thought it was hilarious when Khonshu says, "Put him over the edge." And he goes, "But he's just a kid." He goes, "Don't worry. He'll talk." And
I thought he'd talk.
I thought that was hilarious. And at the same time, it was kind of like, whoa, man. I mean, I don't know. I thought that was pretty heavy. Now, while Mark and Khonshu debate on what to do next, whether it's a good idea or not to call a audience with the gods, Khonshu says he has an idea. A bad idea. Now, his bad idea was to actually signal a audience with the other gods. Now, this is where we see all the other avatars for the other Egyptian gods, which I thought was pretty neat. I guess they get this signal, and then no matter where they're at, they can come and they go inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, which I thought that was pretty damn cool, pretty dark lit. Now, I don't know any of these actors that are in this scene, but I thought it was pretty cool. Now, I thought that this trial scene was actually pretty cool, especially after Harold actually was summoned and he shows up and he tries to defend himself, but for some reason, Khonshu and Mark don't bring up the fact that he has that cane. They don't bring up the fact that he has that scarab that shows the location of Amit's tomb. I don't understand why they didn't bring that up. I mean, they just say, well, he was trying to do this, but they didn't bring up any of the proof that he did, and all that he was, well, I didn't do any of that. And then all the other Egyptian gods just pretty much said, well, okay, sure, he didn't do it, so we're done here. But I had to say the guy who's being the avatar for Osiris, I think he's got more going on here that he's leading on. So I think we're going to see that dude again before this series is over with for sure, because he definitely seems like he's more on Harold's side than anything else. Then the character Yahtzee, the avatar for Hether, gives Mark a name Sinfu to track down. Now, while he's in Cairo walking around asking questions, he bumps into Layla again. Now, she already knows exactly where to go. We meet the character Anton Moger, who's being played by the actor Gaspar Olio. Now, in the comics, Anton Mogart, aka Midnight Man, first appeared in Moon Knight 3 in January of 1981. It was created by writer Doug Mauch and artist Bill Sienkiewicz. Now, in the story for Moon Knight 3, Midnight Man is a costume criminal who steals art treasures and valuable original manuscripts. As part of his shtick, he would always strike at midnight, hence the name Midnight Man. Mogart is presumed dead after his first encounter with Moon Knight after being shot by Marlene and falling off his roof. But he appears several issues later working with Raoul Bushman, betrays Midnight Man, however, and leaves him with Moon Knight to drown in a flooding sewer system. Moon Knight manages to barely rescue himself and Midnight Man. Now, while at Mogart's, Layla and Mark try to decipher the writing in Sinfu's sarcophagus, and while they're doing this, Harold shows up and pretty much ruins everything. He ends up destroying the sarcophagus, and he walks away thinking that they weren't going to get anywhere. Now, they actually managed to save some of the stuff out of there, but before they were able to do that, a fight ensues with Mogart and his men. Now, when it's all said and done, Layla pretty much takes out Beck, who's being played by Luke Malbenza. I hope I don't butcher your name too bad, dude. Like, I believe it was in the Google search, it's saying that he was playing Beck, aka the Bushman. But it does not say that in the character listing in the episode itself at the end of the show. It just says he's playing Beck. So I don't know if he actually is the Bushman character. And after Layla kind of takes him out with that thing that she had around her neck, I don't know if she actually killed him or not, but she did take him out and he was out of the picture for good. But he could still show up because we didn't actually see him die. So unless you actually see him die, maybe he can show up later. Now, Moon Knight actually ends up taking out Mogart with one of his crescent darts. But you don't see him die either. But unfortunately, the actor Gaspar Olio died in a skiing accident. Now, I don't know if this was during production or after production, so unless he filmed all his parts for this series, I guess we will not see Midnight Man make an appearance in this series. Now, Layla talks Mark into letting Steve come out and decipher this star map so they can actually find the tomb of Emmett. Now, when Steve actually does put it all together, they can't really figure out where these stars are at, because when this thing was made, where the stars are at now is not the same spot where they were 2,000 years ago, right? So Khonshu says,
I remember every night.
now he does this thing where he waves his hands like that and he has Steve help him, and it spins, the stars back to where they were at the point when this map was made. Now, everybody that was in that area, Egypt, can see this happening. Even Harold can see it, and all the gods do. And this is like the one thing that kind of makes them all mad. And then they pretty much imprison Khonshu in stone. Now, this seems like that again, Harold is talking to Osiris's avatar, and it seems like they're on the same side in this. So I'm really got my suspicions when it comes to that dude, right? And then Harold talks to the stone figure of Khonshu and stuff like that, and I guess he wasn't lying about being the avatar for Khonshu at one point, because he says that was like the one part he really enjoyed, delivering pain on all those people. So will we actually get to see him as the avatar for Khonshu, like in a flashback or something? I know we only got 3 more episodes left to go, but I kind of like to see that a little bit, maybe just a little. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. And that's pretty much where the episode stops. I mean, this thing was pretty damn awesome. Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke are doing a fabulous job. Even the actress for playing Layla, May Kalamali, I think that's how you say your name. I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but she was doing pretty awesome in this episode also. I can't wait to see where this thing plays out. I mean, this was pretty damn good. I like this series quite a bit. It's really starting to rank up there with the other MCU shows. I mean, still right now, Falcon and Winter Soldier is my most favorite one, followed by WandaVision. And right now, Moon Knight is being tied right after WandaVision, where I did kind of like Loki, but I kind of like this one a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just a little bit. But we still got 3 more episodes left to go, so that can change anything at this point. So, but I'm liking what I've seen so far, and I cannot wait to see what they do next. So did you see the brand new episode of Moon Knight? Let me know in the comments down below. Where does this one rank with you with all the MCU shows we've gotten so far? Let me know in the comments down below. And do you think we're going to see the Bushman in this series before it's all over with? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, this is a really good show, and I just can't wait to see what they do next. So let me know what you think in the comments down below.